For Crema Media's Polity, I'm Sane Dhlamini, Inkatha Freedom Party Chairperson of Campaigns Committee, and MP Narend Singh joins me to discuss 2019 elections. Welcome, Mr. Singh, and thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Marandela, and thank you for having me here this morning.
It's good that you know my surname very well.
Clan name.
Yeah. Mr. Singh, you were recently campaigning in Orange Farm. What were some of the pressing issues from that community?
Firstly, we were very warmly received. I was surprised that we were so warmly received. There are issues relating to housing, the quality of housing in that particular area, and the basic infrastructure in that area. But I think one of the big things is we met a number of young people, and the main challenge is employment or unemployment. And then they asked us questions on how we could solve their unemployment problems in that particular community. So I think unemployment and a little bit of the basic infrastructure in that area.
Which leads me to the next question, because we know government is prioritizing helping in the issue of youth unemployment. How does your party fit into that slot?
Well, you see, government and the ANC in particular think that government can be the only employer, and that's far from the truth. Government must establish a conducive environment for the private sector to become the major employer in our country. And I don't think they are doing enough in that regard. It starts with educating our youth from your grade R level. We have been in control of the KwaZulu government for 10 years. And sometimes people forget that. They talk about the DA in Western Cape for 5 years, but we've been in government for 10 years, and we prioritized education. Because if you don't give our young people a strong foundation, then when they come to tertiary level, they are lost. They don't know what to do. They don't have appropriate skills for the marketplace. So what we would do, we would identify what skills are required by the marketplace and ensure that when our learners go to tertiary institutions, or even while they are in schools, there is vocational education. So when they come out of school and enter a tertiary institution, they are equipped for the marketplace. At the moment, they are not equipped for the marketplace, and there's a mismatch between what they do and what the market requires. So we will focus on doing this kind of needs analysis to make sure that we can match the youth to the jobs that the industry wants out there.
There's been a talk of 9 wasted years, which has resulted in the crippling of our SOEs, if you may say so. How do you plan to resuscitate our SOEs?
Well, see, our SOEs, many of our SOEs are just a drain on the fiscus. The taxpayers are just pouring millions of rand into these SOEs. Some of them are not sustainable in the medium to long term. We need to enter into partnerships with the private sector. And I'm not saying we must privatize SOEs, but we must keep majority shares within government and get the private sector on board, because the private sector is profit orientated. They know about input and output. Government doesn't know about that. And you know, the ANC claims that they are injecting a lot of money into lots of things. It's not their money, it's taxpayers' money. But they've allowed the SOEs to reach such a state that some of them are becoming impossible to turn around. It's like the Titanic. So we would ensure that we bring on board the private sector and form partnerships with government so that we can make these SOEs more sustainable. But when they talk about 9 wasted years, you know, it's very rich of the current ANC leadership that are vying for the votes of people to say they've been wasted years, there's been corruption and all sorts of things. Because many of them who are even vying for presidential positions were there when all these things were happening. And one wonders, why didn't you question it then? It's only when we as opposition parties have been putting increasing pressure on the Nkandla issue, on the SABC issue, that suddenly they realize, hey, if we don't wake up from within ourselves, then we are going to lose everything. And they are at the risk of losing out quite badly because of the slowness in dealing with some of these issues.
Mr. Singh, an average of 57 people are killed each day in our country. What plans do you have to make sure that you reduce the high level of crime?
Well, one murder is one too many. And the levels of crime are discouraging not only for South African investors, but also foreign investors and tourists. Tourism can be one of the greatest, boons to the growth of our economy.
Yes.
But many people don't come here because of the fear of crime. Now, we need to ensure that we professionalize the police. They must be well paid, well trained. We need to ensure that we don't have policing that takes place from Pretoria in KwaZulu-Natal. We need to have our own commissioner and our own administration and deal with our own issues with communities and with business and with everybody else, so that you don't have this control from Pretoria. We need to regionalize police forces. We need to ensure that our justice system is well equipped to deal with the number of crimes that are taking place. We currently are short of 491 prosecutors in the country. Now, that's far too many, which means a number of cases are being remanded, a number of people are being held in prison because they don't have money for bail, and that's not right. So we need to jack up the entire justice system. But as far as murders are concerned, we think that from what we've heard on the ground from many people, that the punishment doesn't fit the crime, especially when children are murdered, women are murdered, and you get people getting 20 years, 25 years, 30 years. We respect the law, but shouldn't we start a debate, which is what the IFP is advocating, a debate on whether the death penalty should be introduced in our country? The Constitution doesn't allow it, but we can amend the Constitution if the majority of people in this country say enough is enough and we don't want any more of these murders.
The IFP has been contesting elections for many years. Why do you think support for your party will grow in the upcoming election?
Yeah, we've been around since 1994. We've been in government in KwaZulu-Natal with the premierships for 10 years. We had a misfortune, I must say, in 2014 when we had a split in the party, where former chairperson, NFP, formed her own party. But even before that, there were attempts to split our party and to split the leadership and to bring down in the main our leader, Prince Buthelezi, who's been tried and tested, experienced, no corruption, no finger in the till, committed to leading with integrity and honesty and doing the right thing. So there have been many attempts to bring him down. And if one reads literature of some of the political parties, you'll see that. They've said, even Tata Mandela said, we've tried so many things. He's quoted as, we've tried so many things to bring Buthelezi down, but we have failed. So he's a force to be reckoned with, and we are his followers. But after 2014, we began to rethink our strategy. We went into local government elections in 2016, and we did extremely well. From running 2 municipalities, we came to 13 municipalities that we are in charge of. And there is growth, and we are hoping to retain that trajectory of growth and grow from 2014 to now by at least double of what we had then.
Talking about Prince Buthelezi, how would you respond to those who are saying it's time for your leader to step down from politics? You
see, what people don't realize is we choose our leader. Political parties choose their own leader. The president of a country is chosen by members of parliament. So people must distinguish between the leader of an organization and the leader of government, as in the president. If we, as members of the organization, want the integrity, the leadership of Prince Buthelezi, why shouldn't we have it? It's our choice, and we want it. We are selfish as members of the IFP, because he's been wanting to step down for a number of years. But we have been saying, please hold on, let this be your last election, and then you can decide what you're going to do. And that's exactly what he has said, that this is his very last election. We're having a conference in about July, all things being equal, and then he will step down as leader of the party.
Will the IFP be prepared to enter into coalitions with other parties should need arise, and how would you approach this matter?
Well, at the moment we are not in coalition, but we are in a cooperative arrangement with certain parties in the city of Johannesburg, in some municipalities in KwaZulu-Natal. And the cooperation agreement was based on a value system, on whether or not those parties share the same values as us at a local government level. Obviously, at a provincial and national level, we want to wait for the results and see what the results are like. And if we are invited by the party which has the majority, to be part of government, then we'll have to consider whether that party shares our values in the main. I mean, we can't agree on everything, otherwise we should be the same party. But in the main, if there are certain values of honesty, integrity, no corruption, good governance and service delivery, and if it's going to benefit our constituents, then we will consider it.
You recently visited the city of choice, Pietermaritzburg, which is also very close to my heart, and it's sad to see the city being put under administration. What would your party do to rescue that municipality?
Yeah, well, I guess now you come from Ngungulu. Yes, it's very sad that in 10 years they've been put under administration twice. And it's largely because of infighting within the ruling party, corruption, everybody wanting a slice of the cake. But the last slice of the cake goes to the citizens on the ground who are contributing the rates. And what we need there is good, strong governance and not rhetoric. But I was also amazed to find that soon after administration, two very senior MECs, including the chairman of the province of KwaZulu-Natal, Sihle Zigalala, was trying to assure the business community, hey, don't worry, we are there. We will support this municipality and turn things around. Where were you in the last 10 years? You've been government in KwaZulu-Natal since 2004. It's now 2019. Things have deteriorated in Pietermaritzburg. You were there as MEC of local government, as MEC of economic development. What were you doing? You did nothing. Right. Now when the proverbial S hits the fan, then you want to try and tell people, hey, yes, we are there. But we want to offer Pietermaritzburg citizens a political home. What I realized during my door-to-door there and public meetings is they are fed up with the ruling party, and they're also fed up with the opposition, because the opposition, they feel, have done nothing. And we've said to them, give us an opportunity. We'll come in like a breath of fresh air. Let us work towards 2021. You elect and select leaders for local government, and we'll support you. But show us for now in this election that the numbers that the IFP got in the last election can increase considerably. That would be a positive sign to the community.
I recently spoke to one of the political analysts, Aubrey Majiki, and he says that this campaign is dull and uninspiring, and most of the political parties, including the IFP, are not giving us as citizens something to be excited about. Why must we vote the IFP?
Well, I know Aubrey Majiki is entitled to his opinion. I mean, we've got some innovations. If you look at our manifesto, there are some innovations and things that we had done before that work that we want to bring back. Your agricultural colleges, so that people who are given land through land redistribution or restitution, and if they want to farm, young people must be able to farm, and they must be able to have colleges where they can go to and learn the art of agriculture. The ANC government is closing that down. We want teacher training colleges to return, because teacher training colleges, which we had many of in KwaZulu-Natal, provided an opportunity for practical teaching. And now you go, you get a degree, and then you're lost. You don't know about the classroom situation. So teacher training colleges. Healthcare. Healthcare needs to start at the primary healthcare facility. And we are saying healthcare workers must be well trained. We must have more input in our human resource in our primary healthcare facilities, so people don't have to travel long distances to hospitals to look for treatment, when the very treatment can be given to you in the primary healthcare. On the side of the environment, you'll find that we are innovative on the side of the environment, where we are talking ban single-use plastic use. We've called for that. We've been strong on rhino poaching. We've been strong on canned lion hunting. So the IFP has been there. The medical cannabis, the introduction of the use of medical cannabis, is an IFP initiative through late Dr. Mario Ambrosini. So we are out there in the marketplace. I think we're going to come up with ideas that should excite the South African citizen, because we want to be new, we think outside of the box, and not be held up in a cocoon.
And lastly, we are just a few days away from the day, May 8th. How could you encourage young voters, especially the first-time voters, to come out in numbers, as well as those who've been fed up in the previous elections, who've chosen to abstain?
Yeah, it is very sad that we hear comments from people saying, well, we're not going to vote. What will these people do for us? They will continue stealing. There's no service delivery. And one can understand that because the track record of the government of the day at all levels, at all provincial levels, doesn't leave hope in a person that, listen, if I vote for a particular party, they're going to change my life. In the IFP, we consider a vote as a value vote. A voter must ask himself or herself, did I get value out of this vote? Not for me personally, but for my community and for the citizenry of South Africa. And if you don't vote, it means you are supporting incumbency. It means you are supporting the ruling party by sitting back, because a no vote is a vote, actually. So my appeal is that everybody, disillusioned or not, should go out, make your mark for whichever party you want to. Hopefully it is the IFP, because we've been able to convince you, but more especially the young people, because it is their future that we are looking to, the future of our children and our grandchildren and our great-grandchildren. And we don't want to leave a legacy behind as a growing age of politicians that we've done nothing to improve their future. They need to make that mark, and hopefully that mark will be for the IFP.
Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you indeed.
That was IFP Chairperson of Campaigns Committee and MP Narend Singh speaking to Polity about 2019 elections.